There were 3 Kingston Frontenacs drafted in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft. The first Frontenac picked in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft was left-handed defenseman Quinton Burns. He went in the 3rd round, 74th overall, to the St. Louis Blues. Last season with the Frontenacs, he played 54 games. He had 29 points, 2 goals, 27 assists. In the previous year with the Fronts, he played 42 games and only had 4 assists for a total of 4 points. So his production really picked up in the 22-23 season with the Kingston Frontenacs. His minutes were boosted. He was one of their top pairing defensemen. Comes in at 6 feet tall, weighing 180 pounds, and he uses all of his height. He plays taller than he is. 6 feet is nothing to scoff at, but he plays a big game, a big, heavy game. So the St. Louis Blues got a hard-nosed defenseman who is evidently great at setting up plays, passing the puck, moving the puck up the ice, as is shown with his 27 assists. He also has 106 penalty minutes in this past 22-23 season with the Kingston Frontenacs, so he's not afraid to go in those danger zones. And sometimes he's going to go too far, but that's okay when you get a big defenseman like this. He was drafted by the Frontenacs in the 2nd round in the 2021 OHL Entry Draft at 35th overall, so early in the 2nd round. He was drafted by Kingston, and he's from Smith Falls, Ontario. Looking at the St. Louis Blues depth chart, they actually do have a lot of left-handed left defensemen, so he kind of just fits into the right of the middle there. He's about the average height of their defenseman, about the average weight of their defenseman, maybe even a little bit on the smaller side. So I don't think he's going to have any huge impacts with the St. Louis Blues. I'm very big on Quinton Byfield. I think he has the chance to be maybe a bottom pairing defenseman in the NHL, but I don't see that happening with St. Louis. Just with their depth chart and who I'm looking at here they have in their system, it just doesn't seem like he's going to have any real opportunities unless they move on from some guys. But I do think Quinton Burns can be an effective defenseman at the NHL level with sheltered minutes if given the opportunity. I don't know if he'll be getting that opportunity with St. Louis. I hope he does, but either way, good on him. So happy he was able to get drafted. Again, 3rd round, 74th overall to the St. Louis Blues after putting up a pretty respectable season with the Kingston Frontenacs in 22-23. The next Kingston Frontenac chosen in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft was Ethan Meidema. He was drafted in the 4th round, 109th overall by the Buffalo Sabres. In the 2022-23 season, where he played half the season with the Kingston Frontenacs, he played 32 games of the second half of the season. He had 9 goals, 12 assists for 21 points in 32 games, which is pretty respectful in my opinion. He had 26 penalty minutes in there too. For his previous seasons in the OHL, he played with the Windsor Spitfires. In 21-22, he had 65 games played with 14 goals, 24 assists, and 38 points. In the first half of the 22-23 OHL season, he played for the Windsor Spitfires, where he had 11 goals, 20 assists for 31 points in 36 games played, so very respectful with that. Now, how did the Frontenacs get him? He was actually part of the Shane Wright trade. So Kingston sent Shane Wright and a 14th round pick to Windsor, and Kingston received Ethan Meidema, Gavin McCarthy, who we'll get to next, and a bunch of draft picks that I'm not going to go through. They got 7 draft picks, Kingston did. But what we're focusing on right now is the players. So Ethan Meidema was drafted by Windsor in the 1st round, 4th overall in the 2021 OHL Entry Draft. So very high hopes for him getting started. And as I read his stats, he had very respectable stats. I'll go through them once again. In 21-22 and 65 games with Windsor, he had 38 points. And then in the first half of the 22-23 season with Windsor, he had 31 points in 36 games. And in the second half, it dropped off a little bit with Kingston, but that's okay. That's his new team. That's a little bit to be expected, where he had 21 points in 32 games. So overall, a pretty good OHL showing for Ethan Meidema. And I'm excited to see what he can do for Kingston in the 23-24 season, as I'm sure that's where he'll be playing. But he also did play in the 2022 playoffs with the Windsor Spitfires, where he played 25 games and only had 1 goal and 4 assists for a total of 5 points. So he didn't quite show up for them in the 2022 playoffs, but he has very respectable OHL numbers, and as a 4th round pick, I think that's a good pickup by Buffalo, and I'm excited to see what he can do with Buffalo and see if he can ever crack the lineup. Now, going to their depth chart, they do have a bunch of wingers. My apologies if I didn't mention. He is a left winger. He shoots left. He is 6'4" and weighs 203 pounds. So he's a big guy. And if he can definitely keep those point totals up, I think he can be an effective hockey player, and he might even be able to crack an NHL lineup someday if he can keep his development and keep improving. Now, looking at the Buffalo Sabres depth chart, they did draft Zach Benson first overall as a left shot left winger in this year's draft at, I believe it was 13th overall. They had that pick. Yeah, 13th. And they do have a bunch of other left shot left wingers in their system. So again, it's going to take a little bit of effort for him to be able to crack the lineup, but I do see it being possible with his size. If he can really use that to his advantage, like a Tage Thompson type, even though he's not a center, it doesn't quite benefit him as much. But if he can use that to his size to his advantage and really, continue the point producing and see if we can get that higher in this next full season with Kingston, I do have very high hopes for Ethan Meidema, and I do think as a 4th round pick that is a great selection by the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the last Kingston Frontenacs selected in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft was Gavin McCarthy. Now, he has not played for the Kingston Frontenacs yet. He actually has played his last few seasons, 21-22 and 22-23, with Muskegon Lumberjacks in the USHL. I hope I'm pronouncing that team name right. Where in the 22-23 season, he had 27 points in 42 games with 8 goals and 19 assists. And in the 21-22 season, he had 2 goals and 11 assists for 13 points in 53 games. So his improvement definitely did take a big jump in 22-23 in his for his UCHL team. And again, Gavin McCarthy we did receive from Windsor in the Shane Wright trade. Gavin was selected by Windsor in the 2021 OHL Entry Draft as the 17th pick in the 8th round. So I don't actually have the math on that. I don't know what number that was, but he was selected quite late, and it appears he may not play for Kingston at all, as he has committed to Boston University in the NCAA for the 23-24 season. It is interesting to note that he did play for the Buffalo Junior Sabres from the 2018-19 season to the 2021 season, and before he went to the USHL. So he has been accustomed to the city of Buffalo before, and there was a chance some executives knew of him and knew a bit more about him from Buffalo Junior team. I'm not sure how closely teams pay attention to stuff like that, but it is just an interesting fact to note. He did play for Team USA at the U18 Hlinka Gretzky Cup, where he played 4 games and only had 1 assist, so not a big showing there. I do know that scouts do pay quite a bit of attention to the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. That is one of the tournaments that they like to focus on, and he didn't have a great showing there. But again, I think for Buffalo this is a great pick. He was selected in the 3rd round, 86th overall, by Buffalo. So Buffalo did get 2 Frontenacs. They actually, my apologies, they did pick Gavin McCarthy first in the 3rd round, and then they picked Ethan Meidema. So 2 good picks. I don't think we'll ever see Gavin McCarthy as a Frontenac. They do own his rights right now, but as I stated, he has committed to the University of Boston. We'll see if he ever plays for the Frontenacs. I highly doubt it. They do have his rights, again, as they attained in the Shane Wright trade. But those were 3 Frontenacs picked in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft. I will be following their careers very closely. I do believe they all can make an impact at the NHL level at some point if given the opportunity. But I do think they're all great hockey players. It would be nice to see Gavin McCarthy as a Frontenac, although I do not think that'll happen. As for Quinton Burns and Ethan Meidema, I am very excited to watch them play in this upcoming 23-24 OHL season with the Kingston Frontenacs. Wishing them the best in their professional careers. I hope we have more Frontenacs making an NHL impact in the future. Thank you very much for watching this Kingston Frontenacs 2023 NHL Entry Draft recap. If you enjoyed and you'd like to see more videos like this, leave a comment down below, give me ideas, and make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Hit like and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/JayShooe for all kinds of updates and hockey content. Thank you. Have a great day.